95, I answered the call, and immediately everything exploded. I was traveling the world, watching God move. It was the most exciting thing I've ever been involved with, and it's what I believe I was created for. But after 13 years in a hectic pace, the death of my mom, a loss of loyalty and focus, it all came crashing down around me. Brokenness, pain, and a lack of vision. But out of it, God brought redemption and beauty. So over the past few months, I've been wondering if I ever really knew what the call of God was, and what answering it will cost me. What did you do before you did this? What were you doing?
I really can't remember what I was doing before this because I've always had a heart for kids. I was going to college, working on college and graduate school. I was doing Young Life and Kanakuk work. I was already doing kid stuff, but I was working on my master's, and my wife's granduncle came up to me and basically asked me the question, what do you want to do with the rest of your life? And it's always good to have an answer when someone asks you that question.
Yeah.
And so instead of, my answer was, I want to work with kids. I mean, I love the adventure stuff that Kanakuk does and the discipleship. I love the relationship building that Young Life did. But I wanted to have a place I could work with guys that didn't have a home, that didn't have a father, that we could train up to be men and give them a safe place to get through school and start their own families and be successful. And so with that conversation with my wife's great uncle, he drove me out here to Chandler to look at this property. And I shared my heart and my story, and had a buddy in college. This was kind of our dream. Like, wouldn't this be cool one day if we could do this? And Uncle Dick drove me out here, and he goes, well, if this is what you want to do, I'd like to help you get started.
So was it at that moment, or when did you sense, or was it prior to that, doing all the Young Life stuff, that you sensed a legitimate call to be working in this capacity with these kids?
I think it had always been a call that I thought I would do, but probably as a volunteer or something I would do in conjunction with something else. Not necessarily be my calling as far as my vocation, but it was my passion and something I would do at some point, whether it was paying my salary or not, if that's something I did day in and day out. But through college, and this really as a 24, 26-year-old kid, this really coming and finding me. I mean, he had the heart desire and was always kind of looking, but this opportunity came and found me.
So what exactly are you doing here at Willow Springs Boys Ranch? What do you do?
Okay. We take guys that are in a family crisis. We want to reach them before they get in the juvenile system. Typically, it's a family that's there's either been a death in the family, or there's been family problems, that maybe a parent's been incarcerated or got a substance abuse issue, or maybe this, for whatever reason, parents aren't at home and you've got extended family or grandparents that are trying to take care of a young boy, and they just need help. And so it's really, sometimes the issue is not anything that the boy has done necessarily, that the family is just in crisis and they need a stable place that a guy can get caught up in school, have some continuity. We ask guys to make a minimum of a year commitment to us so you can have some stability, but a good number of our guys will come and stay long term. They may come and graduate from high school here. We've got 3 guys in college right now that were here from 4 to 9 years, and they came in as guys in junior high. In a family crisis, and we tell guys that we're not here to replace your family. We're here to come alongside you and your family to help you realize the hopes and dreams that you have for your child, and teach them what it means to be a man and have work ethic and work hard and be a productive man in the community, be a good husband, good father, good employee, hopefully one day a good employer for other people, but just be a leader in their family and their community.
What are the ages?
We tell guys we can take them from 7 to 12. I mean, depending on what our bed spaces are and if it's a unique situation. Typically, we take a guy 7 to 12, then they can stay until they graduate from high school. And then they can even apply to move into our graduate house, our independent living program, once they're out of high school.
When that call happened, or when you sensed God had called you to do this with your life, what did your wife think about that? How'd that conversation go?
Well, we were living in Norman. Chandler was a little bitty spot on the road, and I drove her up here and showed her the place, and we did the drive around kind of like you and I did today, and we're pulling out of the gate, heading back down to Route 66, and just I see tears starting to come down her eyes, and down her cheeks and out of her eyes. I'm going, this ain't happening. And before we got to the pavement, she goes, okay, when are we moving? I know this is what God has called us to do. And so she did a lot of crying on the front end. I jokingly say that I've done a lot of crying on the back end, because be careful what you ask for, because a lot of it is not the slick 4-minute video or the website or the 4-color brochure. There's a lot of things out here that it's tough. It's tough dealing with hurting people. It's hard raising your own kids. It's even more difficult to raise someone else's kids when you don't get to start until they're 7 to 12 to 14 years old. There's a lot of catch up that goes on. There's a lot of healing that has to take place, but we're blessed with a lot of good people that help support us and help us do this. I mean, Willow Springs is not Todd Vinson or Darren Carr or just our house parents. There are dozens and hundreds of people that help make this place happen. And it's quiet here right here today, but there's a lot of folks that make Willow Springs happen. And that's what keeps us out here, is we have a lot of help.
And what's your greatest joy that you get to experience in this calling?
Watching our guys be successful. We get to watch guys graduate from high school. It won't be long until we'll get to watch guys be married. We look forward to the day that the reason that we see their kids is because they've brought them out here to show them where they grew up, and they get to see their kids, have their children see a mother and a father come out here and bring them to Willow Springs, and we see these young men living out Proverbs 26 and doing life right. So,
what somebody watching this episode of The Call, and maybe they don't go to church, they don't know what a calling of God is, they don't understand that lingo, but they're sensing something, or maybe they do know what that is, and they've answered their call. What advice would you give somebody? Because so many of us answered the call only seeing the upside.
Right. I would tell someone that God gives you the desires of your heart, and so not to talk yourself out of doing it. There's no reason that a 24-year-old guy should come out here on 180 acres. 5-year plans are great. A year's operating budget in the bank is great. But if we were waiting on that, we would have never started. And so God provides if He's giving you the call. And if it's a call, it's not going to be a thing that you can push to the back of your mind. I mean, it's going to gnaw on you. It's going to be something you're passionate about. I would be doing this regardless. It's as much as part of my makeup as me loving the mountains and coffee. I'm going to find the mountains. I'm going to find coffee somewhere.
Yeah.
And God keeps bringing me to places that those things really come to me, and I can't get away from it. If God calls you, He's going to equip you, and He's going to circle you around some people that are going to help you be successful, because it's His calling, and He's just including you in it. And we just get to be along for the ride. And so the pressure is not on me. It's on God to show up and do His handiwork, and I get to come along for the ride.
Cool. If they're watching this video right now, they're probably able to look somewhere on that computer screen and see a link to Willow Springs Boys Ranch. What is it you would want them to know? That here's some of our prayer requests, here's some of our needs, I
think our biggest need is not getting in your wallet. It's relationships. It's the people that we commit to pray for us, pray for our boys. We're really here to train up a child, Proverbs 22:6. And it says that when he's old, he won't depart from it. It doesn't mean teens, 20s, maybe in his early 30s, that he's not going to have some struggles and make bad choices. But we want folks that want to be involved in some people's life for the long haul. What we don't want is just to get in someone's wallet and be a one-time drive-by charitable project they get involved in. We want some folks that want to get plugged in with us for the long haul and follow these stories of guys that are going through high school and through graduation and getting engaged and having children and then starting their own families. Those are the kind of people that we're looking for.